The hallway smelled like expensive carpet and something darker, fear, maybe. Or desire. Hilda couldn't tell anymore. Taeyoon stood too close. Close enough that she could see the fine lines at the corners of his eyes. Close enough that his cologne, cedar, and something sharp made her dizzy. Do you want me? For words. 7 years too late. Hilda laughed. It came out broken, sharp enough to cut. Are you serious right now? His jaw tightened. That was the only tell. Everything else about Kang Taeyoon stayed perfectly still. The man didn't flinch when guns were drawn in business meetings. He certainly wasn't going to flinch now. But his eyes. God, his eyes were doing something they'd never done before. They were begging. Answer me, he said quietly. Her back pressed against the hotel room door. She could feel the cold metal of the handle digging into her spine. Down the hall, voices echoed. Men speaking in low tones. The kind of voices that came before violence. They'd barely made it to the room. Someone had canceled their reservation. Wiped her phone clean. Left a message that didn't need words. And through it all, Taeyoon had moved like he'd done this before. Like danger was just another Tuesday. Now he stood here asking her the one question that could destroy them both. 7 years, Hilda whispered. Her throat felt tight. 7 years, I looked at you. I smiled. I laughed at your brother's jokes while you sat there like I didn't exist. I wore yellow because someone said you liked yellow. I learned to make your mother's kimchi jjigae. I stayed small and quiet and... Her voice cracked. And you never even looked at me. I looked. 2 words. Devastating. Liar. Every day. His hand came up, stopped inches from her face. His fingers trembled. Kang Taeyoon's hands never trembled. Every single day, Hilda. Her first name. He never used her first name. Then why? The question ripped out of her. Why did you make me feel like nothing? Something moved behind his eyes. Something that looked like pain. Outside, footsteps. Getting closer. Taeyoon glanced toward the sound, then back at her. When he spoke again, his voice dropped lower. Urgent. Because Min-jae loved you first. And I've already taken everything else from him. The world tilted. What? My brother. He's been in love with you since the day you met. And I. He stopped. Swallowed hard. I couldn't take you too. Hilda stared at him. At this man who'd haunted 7 years of her life. This man who'd walked past her like she was furniture. Who'd never smiled at her jokes. Never acknowledged the food she brought. Never, ever looked at her the way he was looking at her now. Like she was the only real thing in a world made of smoke. You're lying, she breathed. I've done many things, Hilda. I've never lied to you. The footsteps stopped. Right outside the door. Taeyoon's hand finally touched her face. His palm was warm. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. So I'm asking you now. Before everything goes to hell. Before you find out what I really am. His eyes searched hers. Do you want me? Because if you don't, I walk away tonight. I let you go. You never see me again. And if I do? His smile was sad. Dangerous. Then God help us both. Before I tell you what happens next, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. Trust me, you won't believe what Taeyoon's been hiding all these years. Hit that like button because this story gets so much darker than you think. This man has secrets that'll break your heart. Stay with me. 7 years earlier, Hilda Okafor learned what invisible felt like. Not the fun kind from movies. The real kind. The kind where people looked through you so smoothly, you started wondering if you were actually there. She was the only black girl in the International Business Department at Hanol University. There were other international students, sure. But they were Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai. They had friends who looked like them. Languages that sounded like home. Hilda had herself. And she had survival tactics. Speak softly. Never too loud. Smile, but not too wide, that made people uncomfortable. Don't wear anything too bright. Don't take up too much space in the subway. Don't eat your mother's jollof rice in the cafeteria because the smell made people wrinkle their noses. Disappear. She got good at it. Most days, she ate lunch alone. Studied in the back corner of the library. Walked to class with her headphones in, pretending she didn't notice the stairs. She told herself it was fine. She was here for an education, not friends. Then she saw him. It was a Tuesday. October. The leaves were turning gold and red, and the campus looked like something from a postcard. Kang Tae-yoon walked across the quad like he owned gravity itself. He wasn't tall, maybe 5'10". He wasn't loud. He didn't laugh with friends or check his phone or do any of the normal student things. He just walked. And everyone moved. She watched a group of senior boys step aside without thinking. Watched a professor nod respectfully. Watched girls whisper behind their hands. Taeyoon noticed none of it. His eyes stayed forward. His expression stayed calm. He wore a black coat over a white shirt and somehow looked more expensive than everyone else combined. Hilda's heart did something stupid. It recognized him. She didn't believe in love at first sight. She believed in pheromones and proximity and shared values. She believed in practical things. But looking at Kang Tae-yoon felt like remembering something she'd forgotten. Dangerous. That's what her best friend back home would have said. Girl, that man is dangerous. Run. She didn't run. She fell. Stupidly. Completely. The kind of falling that ruins you for everyone else. 3 weeks later, someone sat next to her in business ethics. You're Hilda, right? The transfer student from Nigeria. She looked up. The boy had a warm smile and messy hair. He wore a hoodie with an anime character she didn't recognize. Yeah. Hi. I'm Min-jae. Kang Min-jae. He dropped his bag on the floor. I'm so bad at this class. Like, criminally bad. Think you could help me out? Something about him felt easy. Safe. Sure, she said. And, just like that, she had a friend. Min-jae was everything Taeyoon wasn't. Loud where his brother was quiet. Sloppy where Taeyoon was precise. He laughed at his own jokes. He ate street food with his hands. He texted during lectures and forgot assignments and showed up late with apologies that sounded sincere. He made Hilda feel normal. Your Korean is pretty good, he said one day, stealing her notes. Where'd you learn? YouTube. Drama shows. She smiled. My pronunciation is terrible. Nah, it's cute. You sound like you're singing. She'd never had someone call her cute before. Not here. Not anywhere, really. Min-jae became her bridge to everything. He invited her to study groups. Introduced her to other students. Defended her when someone made a comment about her hair. And one day, he said, you should come over for dinner. My mom's been asking about you. Hilda's stomach flipped. Your mom knows about me? I talk about you all the time. Come on, she makes the best samgyeopsal. You'll love it. She almost said no. But Min-jae looked so hopeful. And she was so tired of eating alone. Okay. The Kang house sat behind tall walls in Gangnam. Not a mansion, but close. The kind of place that whispered old money. Mrs. Kang met her at the door with a warmth that made Hilda's chest ache. You're Hilda. Come in, come in. Min-jae talks about you constantly. She pulled Hilda into a hug that smelled like jasmine and home. You're so beautiful. Look at your skin. Hilda relaxed. Just a little. The house was traditional Korean with modern touches. Low tables. Heated floors. Art on the walls that probably cost more than her tuition. She felt out of place immediately. Then she felt him. Taeyoon sat in the living room, reading something on his tablet. He looked up when she entered. Their eyes met. Nothing. His expression showed absolutely nothing. Taeyoon, this is Hilda. My friend from class. Min-jae's voice was bright. Proud, almost. Hello, Taeyoon said. Polite. Distant. Then he looked back at his tablet. That was it. No smile. No warmth. No recognition of the way her heart was trying to escape her chest. Nothing. Hilda felt something inside her crack. But she smiled. Bowed slightly. Nice to meet you. Dinner was beautiful. Mrs. Kang told stories. Min-jae teased his mother. The food was incredible. And Taeyoon sat at the head of the table like a statue. He didn't speak unless asked a direct question. He didn't look at Hilda. When she accidentally laughed too loud at one of Min-jae's jokes, he simply stood and excused himself. Like she was too much. Hilda went home that night and cried for reasons she couldn't explain. Over the next months, she visited often. Cooked with Mrs. Kang. Learned family recipes. Brought small gifts. She told herself she came for Min-jae. For his mother's kindness. But really, she came for the chance to see Taeyoon. Every visit was the same. He'd walk through rooms like a ghost. Acknowledge her with a nod. Never sit next to her. Never ask her questions. Never see her. She tried everything. New hairstyles. Different clothes. She wore yellow once because she'd heard him mention it was his favorite color. He left early that night. Your brother doesn't like me, she told Min-jae one day. What? No. Taeyoon doesn't like anyone. He's just busy. Don't take it personally. But how could she not? 7 years of education, confidence building, and self-love, and one man's indifference still made her feel like nothing. Like she was back to being invisible. Only this time, it hurt worse. Because she'd let herself hope. 7 years later, Hilda still worked in the same building as Kang Taeyoon. Min-jae had pulled strings after graduation. Got her a job at Kang Global. You're brilliant, he'd said. They'd be stupid not to hire you. She'd said yes because she needed a job. Because the pay was good. Because Min-jae promised it would be different. It wasn't different. Kang Global's headquarters sat in a steel tower in downtown Seoul. 43 floors of glass and power. On paper, they handled international logistics and trade. Shipping. Imports. Exports. But Hilda had eyes. She saw the men in expensive suits who came for meetings and left looking pale. She saw the way conversations stopped when certain names were mentioned. She saw money move in ways that didn't match the paperwork. She wasn't stupid. Kang Global was clean on the surface. Underneath, it was something else entirely. And Taeyoon ran it all. He wasn't the warm, older brother anymore. He was the CEO. The man people feared without understanding why. Hilda worked in the International Relations Department. Mid-level. Comfortable. Safe. She'd stopped trying to get Taeyeon's attention years ago. Stopped wearing yellow. Stopped doing her hair special ways. Stopped hoping. Now she just survived. She was good at her job. Respected by colleagues. She had an apartment in Mapo. Friends from work. A life that looked normal. Except she still loved him. 7 years and her heart hadn't learned to let go. Pathetic. That's what her college roommate back in Lagos would have called it. That's what Hilda called it herself, late at night when she couldn't sleep. But love didn't ask permission. It just stayed. The call came on a Wednesday. Hilda was reviewing contracts when her phone buzzed. Internal number. Director's office. Ms. Okafor, you're needed in conference room A, immediately. Her stomach dropped. Conference room A was top floor. Executive level. She'd never been called up there before. She took the elevator with her heart in her throat. The room was glass and chrome. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul. 6 executives sat around the table. Taeyoon stood at the head. He looked the same. Black suit. White shirt. No tie. Hair pushed back from his face. That same devastating calm. He glanced at her. Through her. Ms. Okafor, sit. She sat. We have a situation in Busan, said Director Kim, a thin man with wire-frame glasses. A shipping contract that needs immediate attention. The clients are threatening to pull out. Mr. Kang and Mr. Kang Min-jae were scheduled to handle negotiations. However, Taeyeon's voice cut through the room like a blade. Min-jae has a conflict. You'll go instead. Hilda blinked. Me? You speak English, Korean, and he glanced at a paper, Igbo, correct? One of the clients is Nigerian. Your presence will help smooth negotiations. Yes, but... The car leaves in 2 hours. Pack for 3 days. Questions. 1,000 questions. Starting with, why her? Why no? Why was Taeyeon looking everywhere except at her face? No questions, she whispered. Good. Dismissed. Everyone stood. Filed out. Hilda's legs barely worked. She was going to Busan. Alone. With Kang Taeyoon. Min-jae found her at her desk 20 minutes later. Hey, heard you got the Busan assignment. He looked stressed. Tired. I'm so sorry I can't go. This merger thing came up and... It's fine, Hilda said. Her hands shook as she packed her laptop. I can handle it. I know you can. You're amazing. He touched her shoulder. Squeezed gently. Just, be careful, okay? Something in his voice made her look up. Careful of what? Busan clients. They're intense. Don't let them push you around. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. And Taeyeon's been in a mood lately. If he's difficult, just ignore him. I've been ignoring him for 7 years. I'm a professional. Min-jae laughed. Kissed her forehead like he always did. Text me when you land. She nodded. Didn't see the way Min-jae's expression changed as he walked away. Didn't see his hands clench into fists. The car was a black Mercedes. Tinted windows. Driver who didn't speak. Taeyoon was already in the back seat when Hilda slid in. The space felt suffocating immediately. He was on his phone, typing rapidly. He didn't look up when she buckled her seatbelt. Fine. She could do this. 3-hour drive. She'd just work. Review files. Ignore the way his cologne filled the car. Ignore the way his knee was 8 inches from hers. Ignore everything. Seoul traffic was brutal. They crawled through Gangnam in silence. An hour passed. Then 2. Hilda's neck ached from keeping her head turned toward the window. From pretending she wasn't hyper-aware of every breath he took. Finally, Taeyoon spoke. Review the client files? Yes. Questions? No. Silence again. Then, you've done well at the company. Hilda's head snapped toward him. He was still looking at his phone. Thank you, she managed. Min-jae speaks highly of you. Of course. Min-jae. Always Min-jae. He's a good friend, she said carefully. Something flickered across Taeyoon's face. Gone too fast to read. They didn't speak again until Busan. The hotel was sleek. Modern. Ocean view. Hilda approached the front desk with her confirmation number ready. The clerk typed, frowned, typed again. I'm sorry, Ms. Okafor. We don't have a reservation under that name. What? That's impossible. It was booked 2 weeks ago. The clerk checked again. I'm showing no record. And we're fully booked tonight. There's a medical conference. Panic rising. There has to be a mistake. Taeyoon appeared at her elbow. He didn't look surprised. Try mine, he said quietly. The clerk typed. Her expression cleared. Yes, Mr. Kong. We have your executive suite available. We'll take it. Hilda stared at him. There are no other rooms. His voice was flat. Final. It's this or sleep in the car. Her mouth went dry. I can find another hotel. You can try. You won't find anything. He took the key card from the clerk. Started toward the elevators. Hilda had no choice but to follow. The suite was massive. Living room. Kitchenette. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean. 1 bedroom. 1 bed. I'll take the couch, Taeyoon said, dropping his bag by the door. This is insane. I should. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out. The screen was black. Completely dead. That's weird. It was fully charged. She tried to restart it. Nothing. Taeyoon pulled out his own phone. His expression darkened. What? Hilda asked. He made a call. Spoke in rapid Korean. His voice dropped into something she'd never heard before. Something that made her spine straighten. Command. Pure command. He hung up. Looked at her directly for the first time all day. Your phone was wiped remotely. Someone's sending a message. A message? What message? That they know you're here. That they can reach you. He walked to the windows. Checked the locks. The reservation cancellation wasn't an accident. Hilda's heart hammered. What kind of company is this? What do you people actually do? The kind you don't ask questions about. He moved to the door. Engaged the deadbolt. The chain. Stay away from the windows. Don't open the door for anyone. You're scaring me. Good. He finally looked at her. Really looked. You should be scared. The way he said it made her blood run cold. This wasn't a business trip. This was something else entirely. And Kang Taeyoon knew exactly what they were walking into. Hilda stood in the middle of the suite, trying to process. Explain, she said. Right now. What's happening? Taeyoon moved through the room like a soldier. Checking closets. The bathroom. Behind furniture. He opened his laptop, typed something, closed it. The Busan clients are connected to a rival organization. They've been trying to undercut our operations for months. He said it casually. Like he was discussing whether. This meeting is a test. A test of what? Whether we're weak enough to be pushed. Hilda laughed. It came out high-pitched. Hysterical. I'm a mid-level employee. Why would they care about me? Taeyoon stopped moving. Looked at her. Because you're close to Min-jae. And they think that makes you leverage. The room tilted. I need to leave. I need to go home right now. You can't. The last train left an hour ago. Roads aren't safe at night. He pulled out his phone again. I've arranged security. We're safe here. Safe? You just said someone wiped my phone. To send a message. Not to act. There's a difference. His voice was so calm. Too calm. The meeting is tomorrow at 2. We handle it. We leave. Nothing happens. You don't know that. I do. The certainty in his voice should have been comforting. It wasn't. Hilda sank onto the couch. Her hands were shaking. This wasn't her world. She handled contracts, emails, conference calls. She didn't handle threats and messages and whatever dark game Taeyoon was playing. Why did you bring me? The question came out broken. You could have sent anyone. Why me? For the first time, Taeyoon hesitated. Min-jae recommended you. Of course. Always Min-jae. The silence stretched. Hilda pulled out her laptop, trying to focus on work. Anything to avoid looking at him. But her mind kept circling back. 7 years of moments she'd tried to forget. The company gala 3 years ago. She'd saved for months to buy a yellow dress. Silk. The color of sunlight. Someone had mentioned once that Taeyoon liked yellow. She'd felt beautiful that night. Confident. Taeyoon had arrived late. Scanned the room. His eyes had passed right over her. 30 minutes later, he'd left. She'd gone home and cried in that stupid yellow dress. Or the time she'd spent weeks learning to make kimchi jjigae from Mrs. Kang. Brought it to the office for the team lunch. Everyone had loved it. Except Taeyoon didn't eat. He'd thanked her politely. Then ordered something else. Or the hundreds of times she'd laughed at Minji's jokes. Every single time, she'd felt Taeyeon's eyes on her. But when she looked, he was always turned away. 7 years of almost moments. Of maybes. Of hoping she was wrong about his indifference. She wasn't wrong. She was just stupid. You should eat something. Taeyeon's voice startled her. He was holding a room service menu. I'm not hungry. You need to eat. Stop telling me what to do. It came out sharper than she meant. You've ignored me for 7 years. You don't get to care now. His jaw tightened. I never ignored you. Really? She stood. All the years of hurt rising up her throat. You've never had a real conversation with me. You leave rooms when I enter them. You look through me like I'm glass. That's not. Is it because I'm black? The question hung in the air like poison. She'd never said it out loud before. Never let herself believe it. But what else could it be? Taeyeon's expression shattered. For just a second, she saw something raw underneath. It was never that, he said quietly. Then what? What did I do that was so wrong you couldn't even look at me? You didn't do anything wrong. His hands clenched into fists. You were perfect. That was the problem. Hilda stared at him. What? But he turned away. Walked to the window. Put distance between them again. Forget it. I'll order food. No. She was done with this. Done with silence and distance and pretending everything was fine. I spent 7 years trying to be enough for you. Her voice cracked. I changed my hair. My clothes. I learned your language. Your food. Your customs. I made myself small and quiet because I thought maybe that's what you wanted. Hilda. And you never saw me. Not once. Do you know what that does to a person? To spend that long loving someone who treats you like you don't exist. Stop. Why? Does the truth make you uncomfortable? Tears burned her eyes. She refused to let them fall. I'm done. After this trip, I'm done. I'll finish the meeting and then I'm requesting a transfer. I can't do this anymore. She expected him to agree, to nod and turn away. Instead, he crossed the room in 3 strides, grabbed her shoulders, looked at her like she was the only thing in the world. You think I didn't see you? His voice was raw, desperate. I saw everything. Every dress. Every smile. Every time you walked into a room, I saw you. Hilda's breath caught. The yellow dress? I left because I couldn't trust myself to stay. The kimchi jjigae? I didn't eat because Min-jae made it clear you cooked it for the team. For him. His grip tightened. Every time you laughed at his jokes, it killed me. Every time you touched his arm. Every time you looked at him the way I wanted you to look at me. That's not. I noticed everything. His hands slid down her arms. Gentle now. The way you sing when you think no one's listening. How you tuck your hair behind your right ear when you're nervous. How you take your coffee with too much sugar and how you always smell like shea butter and vanilla. Hilda couldn't breathe. Then why? She whispered. Why did you act like I was nothing? His hands dropped. He stepped back. Because I couldn't have you. The words sat between them like broken glass. Before Hilda could respond, Taeyeon's phone buzzed. He glanced at it. His expression hardened. Meeting's been moved up. Tomorrow morning. 7 a.m. That's not enough time to prepare. It's a power play. They want us off balance. He was back to business. Back to the Taeyoon she knew. Get some sleep. I'll take the couch. Wait. You can't just say that and walk away. Yes, I can. He grabbed a pillow from the bed. Bathroom's yours. Lock the door if it makes you feel safer. Safer from who? The rival organization or you? He smiled. It was sad. Bitter. Both, probably. Hilda didn't sleep. She lay in the massive bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every word. Every look. I couldn't have you. What did that mean? Instead, all she could think about was the way Taeyeon's hands had felt on her shoulders. The desperation in his voice. I saw everything. Morning came too fast. Taeyeon knocked on the door at 5:30. We leave in an hour. Hilda showered. Dressed in her most professional suit. Armor. When she emerged, Taeyeon had coffee waiting. 2 cups. He'd remembered she took too much sugar. The meeting location was a private room in a seafood restaurant by the docks. Not an office. Not somewhere public. Hilda's stomach turned. The clients were 4 men in expensive suits. They smiled too much. Stood too close. And they watched Hilda like she was prey. Taeyoon noticed immediately. He positioned himself between her and them. Subtle. Always subtle. But absolute. When one of the men tried to shake her hand and hold it too long, Taeyeon's hand was suddenly there. Blocking. Redirecting. Ms. Okafor is here in an advisory capacity, he said smoothly. All negotiations go through me. The meeting was tense. Numbers thrown around. Threats disguised as concerns. The men pushed. Taeyoon didn't budge. Through it all, Hilda felt his protection like a physical thing. The way he angled his body. The way his eyes tracked every movement. She'd never felt so safe and so terrified at the same time. After 2 hours, they reached an agreement. Hands were shaken. Smiles exchanged. As they left, Taeyeon's hand touched the small of her back, guiding her. Outside, she finally breathed. That was. Her phone buzzed. Except her phone was dead. Taeyeon's phone. Someone had sent him a message. He read it. His expression went cold. What? Hilda asked. He handed her the phone. One line. Ask him about his brother. Hilda's blood turned to ice. What does Min-jae have to do with this? Taeyoon looked at her. Finally. Fully. 7 years of distance collapsing in one moment. Everything, he said. Min-jae has everything to do with this. Back in the hotel room, Hilda paced. What does that mean? Ask him about his brother. What does Min-jae have to do with any of this? Taeyoon stood by the window. Silent. That infuriating silence she'd lived with for 7 years. Answer me. You should sit down. I don't want to sit down. I want answers. Her voice rose. Someone threatened us. Wiped my phone. Sent cryptic messages. And somehow Min-jae is involved. It's not what you think. Then tell me what to think. Taeyoon turned. The sunset behind him made his face half shadow. When he spoke, his voice was rough. Tired. Do you want me? Hilda laughed. Sharp. Bitter. Are you serious right now? We're talking about your brother and you're asking. Do you want me, Hilda? He took a step closer. Because if you don't, I'll explain everything and put you on a train home tonight. You'll never see me again. But if you do, his voice cracked. If you do, then I need to tell you the truth. All of it. And it's going to hurt. Her heart hammered. After 7 years? You want to have this conversation now. I've wanted this conversation since the day we met. The room tilted. Hilda grabbed the back of a chair for balance. That's a lie. I've done many things. I've never lied to you. You ignored me for 7 years. No. He moved closer. I noticed you. From the very first day. October 14th. Tuesday. You wore a purple sweater and jeans. Your hair was in twists. His voice was quiet. Precise. Like he was reciting scripture. You were sitting alone in the library. Min-jae dropped his books near your table. You helped him pick them up. Hilda's breath caught. You smiled at him. He made a joke about being clumsy. You laughed. Not polite laughter. Real laughter. Taeyeon's eyes never left hers. I was 3 tables away. I'd gone there to study. Instead, I watched you help a stranger and thought, this is the most beautiful person I've ever seen. Stop. You want the truth? Here's the truth. He was close now. Too close. I watched you cook with my mother. You hummed while you stirred the pot. Some song I didn't recognize. My mother said you made her feel young again. Tears burned Hilda's eyes. I watched you braid your hair before exams. Always the same pattern. You'd sit in the library, fingers moving like magic, completely focused. His hand lifted. Stopped. Dropped. I watched you say my name. Taeyoon. You're the only person who says it correctly. Everyone else rushes the syllables. You give each one space. Then why? The question ripped out of her. Why did you treat me like I didn't exist? Because Min-jae loved you first. The words landed like stones. What? My brother. He fell in love with you that first day. Told me about you that night at dinner. Showed me your picture on his phone. Said he'd finally met someone special. Taeyoon's smile was broken. He asked me if I thought he had a chance. Hilda shook her head. No. Minji's my friend. My best friend. He never. Didn't he? Something in his tone made her stop. He never said anything, she whispered. He didn't have to. Taeyoon pulled out his phone. Scrolled. Handed it to her. These are messages from Min-jae. 7 years worth. Hilda's hands shook as she read. Min-jae, 3 years ago, Hilda's coming to dinner again. Don't make it weird. Min-jae, 2 years ago, that guy from accounting asked about her. I told him she's not interested. Min-jae, 1 year ago, why do you always leave when she's around? It's rude. Min-jae, 6 months ago, she bought me lunch today. Just the two of us. I think I'm getting somewhere. Hilda scrolled faster. More messages. More evidence. Photos. Her and Min-jae at company events. Always sitting close. His arm around her shoulders. Her leaning into him. She remembered those moments differently. As friendship. Comfort. But looking now, she saw something else. The way he touched her. Always touching. Her arm. Her back. Her hair. The way he positioned himself between her and other men. The way he steered conversations when someone showed interest in her. No. She dropped the phone. You're wrong. He never said anything. Never tried anything. Because he was waiting. Building foundation. Making himself essential. Taeyoon picked up the phone. Scrolled to another message. Read this one. Min-jae, 3 months ago, she told me today she's never been in love. Can you believe that? 7 years and no one's caught her eye. That means I still have time. I just need to be patient. Hilda's stomach turned. That's not, I never said that. Didn't you? Think carefully. She thought back. 3 months ago. Late night at the office. Min-jae had asked about her dating life. She'd laughed it off. Said something like, I've never really fallen for anyone here. She'd meant it as deflection. She couldn't tell him the truth. Couldn't say she'd spent 7 years in love with his brother. But Min-jae had heard what he wanted to hear. He knows, Taeyoon said quietly. About my feelings. He's known for years. How? Because he's my brother. Because we grew up in the same house. Because he knows me better than anyone. He sat on the edge of the bed. Exhausted. And because I told him. 5 years ago. I couldn't watch it anymore. Couldn't watch him pursue you while He stopped. Breathed. I told him I had feelings for you. Asked him to back off. Give me a chance. What did he say? He said I already took everything from him. Our father's respect. The company. The family legacy. He said I didn't get to take you too. Hilda sank onto the couch. The room felt too small. In my world, love is leverage, Taeyoon continued. Information is currency. Family is everything. And brothers, his voice hardened. Brothers don't steal from each other. That's the rule we were raised with. So you just gave up? I chose him over me. Over you. Over everything. He looked at her finally. I thought it was honor. Turns out it was just cowardice. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. You let me suffer because of a code? Hilda's voice shook. Because of some rule about brothers? I let myself suffer. You were always free to be happy. Happy? She stood. Anger flooding through her. I spent 7 years thinking I was invisible. Thinking I wasn't good enough. Thinking maybe it was my skin or my accent or my... Her voice broke. I hated myself, Taeyoon. I hated that I couldn't stop loving someone who wouldn't even look at me. He was in front of her in 2 steps. Hands cupping her face. I looked. Every day. Every moment. You were the only thing I saw. Then you should have said something. I know. His forehead dropped to hers. I know. The distance between them was nothing now. Just breath. Just heartbeat. I'm tired, Hilda whispered. I'm so tired of this. So am I. She didn't know who moved first. It didn't matter. The kiss was 7 years of hunger, of restraint breaking, of silent longing finally given voice. His hands tangled in her hair. Her fingers clutched his shirt. Desperate. Messy. Real. He tasted like coffee and regret. She kissed him harder. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Taeyoon pressed his forehead to hers again. We can't go back from this. I don't want to go back. He kissed her again. Slower this time. Deeper. His hands slid down her arms, her waist, pulling her closer. They stumbled toward the bedroom. A tangle of wanting and 7 years of almost. When he laid her on the bed, his eyes asked the question. She answered by pulling him down. Later, in the dark, Hilda traced patterns on his chest. What happens now? Taeyeon's arm tightened around her. Min-jae will know. The second he sees us together, he'll know. Let him know. It's not that simple. He's dangerous when he's hurt. She lifted her head. What does that mean? It means my brother plays games. Long games. Strategic games. His jaw tightened. And he doesn't lose gracefully. Hilda thought about the messages. The photos. 7 years of careful positioning. The Busan threat, she said slowly. Min-jae couldn't come to the trip. He had a conflict. That he created. The pieces clicked together. Cold. Sharp. He set this up. He put me in danger. To separate us. To remind me what I have to lose. Taeyeon's voice was bitter. He's done it before. Every time I got close to telling you the truth, something happened. A project. An emergency. A reason for you to need him instead of me. Hilda sat up. The sheet fell. She didn't care. 7 years. He's been manipulating us for 7 years. Yes. She felt sick. Betrayed. Furious. But underneath that, something else. Relief. Because finally, she understood. The distance. The silence. The way Taeyoon looked at her when he thought she wasn't watching. It was never indifference. It was restraint. She kissed him again. Hard. Claiming. We're going back to Seoul, she said against his mouth. And we're telling him. Hilda. No more hiding. No more codes. No more letting him control our lives. Taeyoon looked at her. Really looked. Something like pride flickered in his eyes. Okay, he said. We tell him. The drive back to Seoul felt different. Taeyeon's hand rested on her thigh. Casual. Possessive. Like he'd been doing it for years instead of hours. Every touch still felt electric. Her body remembered his hands, his mouth, the way he'd whispered her name in the dark like a prayer. But her mind was racing ahead. Min-jae. Her best friend. Her safe place. The person who'd made Korea bearable. Or so she'd thought. What are you thinking? Taeyoon asked. That I was blind. You trusted him. That's not blindness. It's stupidity. His hand squeezed her leg. It's kindness. Don't let him take that from you. They reached Seoul at noon. Gray sky. Rain threatening. Taeyoon drove to the Kang Global building. He'll be in his office. Top floor. You're coming with me? Always. They rode the elevator in silence. Hilda's heart pounded. She'd rehearsed speeches in her head. Tried to find the right words. But words felt useless now. The elevator opened. Min-jae stood in the hallway. Like he'd been waiting. His eyes moved from Hilda to Taeyoon. To their hands linked. His expression crumbled. So it's true. His voice was flat. Dead. I got a call from Busan. They said you two looked close. Min-jae, Hilda started. How long? That's not important, Taeyoon said. How long? Each word a bullet. 2 days, Hilda said. But that's not. Min-jae laughed. Sharp. Bitter. 2 days. 7 years I've been waiting and you give yourself to him in 2 days. I didn't give myself to anyone. I made a choice. A choice. He stepped closer. Did you know he's been in love with you since the beginning? Did he tell you that? Did he tell you how he used to watch you when you visited our house? He told me everything. Everything. Min-jae's smile was cruel. Did he tell you I asked him to stay away? That I called you first. Yes. And you don't care? Hilda met his eyes. Her best friend. Her betrayer. You never called me. You never said what you felt. You just hovered. Controlled. Kept me close, but never close enough. I was building something. Building us. There was no us. There was only you wanting something I never offered. His face twisted. I loved you. No. Hilda's voice was firm. You wanted to own me. That's different. Min-jae turned to Taeyoon. You couldn't wait, could you? You took everything else. The company. Father's respect. Mother's attention. You had to take her too. She's not property. Taeyoon's voice was cold. She's not something to take. You don't deserve her. Probably not. But that's for her to decide. Min-jae's hands clenched. For a second, Hilda thought he might swing. Then his expression changed. Went blank. Calculating. Fine. You want her? Keep her. He stepped back. But don't come crying when you see what I did to make sure she needed me. Hilda's stomach dropped. What does that mean? Min-jae smiled. Ask your boyfriend. Ask him who blocked your promotion last year. Who leaked information about your project to make you look incompetent. Who made sure every man who showed interest got transferred or fired. You're lying, she whispered. Am I? He pulled out his phone. Showed her emails. Messages. Evidence. 7 years of sabotage. Documented. Getting her hired at Kong Global, not to help her, but to keep her close. Blocking her promotion, to keep her dependent. Leaking her work, to make her doubt herself. The Busan trip, putting her in danger to separate her from Taeyoon. All of it. Every setback. Every disappointment. Every moment she'd felt like she wasn't good enough. Min-jae's doing. You did this, she breathed. You destroyed my career because you couldn't have me. I kept you safe. I kept you close. I was building a foundation. You were keeping me in a cage. Her voice echoed through the empty hallway. Min-jae's mask cracked. Raw emotion bled through. I loved you first. Before he even noticed you, I saw you. I made you part of this family. I gave you everything. You gave me nothing. You took everything. Because I was patient. Because I knew eventually you'd see. You'd realize I was the better choice. The safer choice. The one who actually what? Her voice was steel now. Manipulated me? Lied to me? Put me in danger? That's not love, Min-jae. That's obsession. His expression went cold. You'll regret this. Is that a threat? It's a promise. He looked at Taeyoon. You won. Congratulations. But don't think this is over. He walked past them. Stopped at the elevator. She'll never fit in our world, Hyung. You know that. Mother might tolerate her, but society won't. Business partners won't. She'll always be the outsider. The foreign girl who doesn't belong. Then I'll change the world, Taeyoon said quietly. Min-jae laughed. The elevator doors opened. He stepped in. Good luck with that. The doors closed. Silence. Hilda's legs gave out. Taeyoon caught her. He did all of that, she whispered. 7 years. He destroyed my career. My confidence. Everything. I know. Did you know before? Taeyoon hesitated. I suspected. I had no proof. You should have told me. I know. She pulled away from him. Stood on her own. I need to think. Hilda. No. Just give me space. Please. She walked to her office. Closed the door. Sat in the dark. Everything she'd built. Every friendship. Every achievement. Tainted. Min-jae had been pulling strings the whole time. And Taeyoon had stayed silent. Choosing honor over truth. Choosing his brother over her. Both of them had made choices for her. About her. Without her. For 7 years, she lived in a story they wrote. She was done being a character in someone else's narrative. Hilda spent the next 2 weeks packing. Not dramatically. Quietly. She gave notice at work. 2 weeks. Professional. Clean. She sold her furniture. Shipped her books home. Cancelled her lease. Taeyoon came to her apartment once. She didn't let him in. Let me explain, he said through the door. There's nothing to explain. You made choices. I'm making mine. I love you. The words should have meant something. They meant nothing. You love me now. You loved me then. But you loved your code more. You loved your brother more. You loved your guilt more. That's not fair. Hilda opened the door. Looked at him. You let 7 years pass. 7 years of me hurting. You say you want me, but only after getting permission from a man who never owned me. Her voice didn't shake. You say you love me, but love requires courage. And you were a coward. I was trying to protect. I didn't ask to be protected. I asked to be seen, to be chosen, to matter more than some code about brothers. Taeyeon's expression shattered. What do you want from me? Nothing anymore. That's the point. She closed the door, heard him stand there for 10 minutes, then leave. Her last day at Kong Global was a Friday. She cleaned out her desk, returned her badge, said polite goodbyes. Mrs. Kong called. Hilda didn't answer. Min-jae sent messages. Apologies. She deleted them without reading. Taeyeon sent nothing. That hurt most of all. Her flight left Sunday morning. Back to Nigeria. Back to family. Back to a life that didn't include the Kong brothers. Saturday night, her doorbell rang. Taeyeon stood there. He looked wrecked. Tired. Human. I'm not asking you to stay, he said. I'm asking you to let me say goodbye properly. Against her better judgment, she let him in. They stood in her empty apartment. Boxes. Echoes. I was a coward, he said. You're right. I chose wrong. I let 7 years pass because I was afraid. Of Min-jae. Of my family. Of the world that would judge us. I know. I don't expect forgiveness. I just want you to know, his voice cracked. Loving you was the most honest thing I've ever done. Even in silence. Even from distance. You were real. The only real thing in my life. Hilda's eyes burned. That's not enough. I know. He kissed her forehead. Gentle. Final. Be happy, he whispered. Be free. Be everything I was too weak to let you be. Then he left. Hilda stood alone in her empty apartment and let herself cry. For 7 years wasted. For love given to the wrong people. For the version of herself she'd tried so hard to be. Then she stopped crying, picked up her suitcase, and walked toward the door. At the airport, she turned on her phone one last time. One message from Taeyeon, I'll wait. However long it takes. I'll wait. She deleted it, boarded her plane, and left Korea behind. 1 year later, Hilda Okafor walked into a Seoul boardroom like she owned it. Because in a way, she did. The year away had changed her. Not softly. Not gently. She'd gone home to Lagos and built herself from nothing. Started with freelance consulting. Used every connection she'd made. Every skill she'd learned. Every painful lesson from 7 years in Korea. 6 months in, she had clients. 9 months in, she had a team. 12 months in, she had Okafor International Consulting, a firm specializing in Asian-African trade relations. She learned the game Taeyeon played. Logistics. Negotiation. Power dynamics. The unspoken rules of business that had nothing to do with contracts and everything to do with control. She didn't run away from Korea. She leveled up to come back as an equal. Now she stood in Kong Global's main conference room, wearing a navy suit that cost more than her first month's rent in Seoul. Her natural hair was styled in elegant locks. Her makeup was minimal. Professional. She looked like power. Felt like it too. Across the table sat 5 executives. And at the head, Kang Taeyeon. He looked the same. Black suit. Sharp jaw. Those eyes that still made her stomach flip. But something was different. He looked tired. Thinner. Like he hadn't slept properly in months. Good, she thought. Then hated herself for thinking it. Ms. Okafor, Director Kim began. Thank you for coming. We've reviewed your proposal for the West African expansion. It's impressive. Thank you. However, we have concerns about your firm's capacity. You're relatively new. My firm secured 12 major contracts this year. Revenue exceeded projections by 40%. I have offices in 3 countries and partnerships in 7 more. Her voice was calm. Professional. If capacity is your concern, I can provide additional documentation. She slid a folder across the table. Prepared. Always prepared now. Taeyeon hadn't spoken. Hadn't looked away from her face. The meeting continued. Numbers. Projections. Terms. Hilda negotiated like she'd been doing it her whole life. Firm but flexible. Strategic. She'd learned from watching Taeyeon. But she'd also learned from surviving him. 2 hours later, they shook hands. Preliminary agreement. They'd finalize terms over the next few weeks. As everyone filed out, Taeyeon's voice stopped her. Ms. Okafor. A moment. Her heart jumped. She controlled it. Turned. They were alone. You look well, he said quietly. I am well. I'm glad. Silence. Heavy with everything unsaid. I won't ask forgiveness, Taeyeon continued. I don't deserve it. But I'm asking permission to try again. Properly this time. Hilda's laugh was soft. Not bitter anymore. Just sad. I'm not here for you, Taeyeon. I'm here for business. For my company. For me. I know. Do you? She stepped closer. Because a year ago, I would have said yes. I would have forgiven everything. Taken whatever scraps you offered. And now? Now I know my worth. And it's not measured by whether you choose me. He absorbed that. Nodded slowly. You're right. You're absolutely right. He looked at her. Really looked. But that doesn't change how I feel. Feelings aren't enough. I know that too. The air between them crackled. Same attraction. Same pull. But different now. She wasn't the girl who loved him silently anymore. And he wasn't the man who hid behind codes. I waited, he said. Like I promised. I'm still waiting. That's your choice. Not my responsibility. I know. Hilda picked up her briefcase. Started toward the door. Hilda. She stopped. Didn't turn. I'm proud of you. What you built. Who you became. His voice was rough. Honest. Even if I never get another chance, I need you to know that. Her throat tightened. She kept walking. Meanwhile, in another part of Seoul, Kang Min-jae sat alone in a bar. He'd tried apologizing to Taeyeon. Multiple times. Texts. Calls. Showing up at the office. His brother wouldn't speak to him. Family dinners were torture. Their mother tried to pretend everything was fine. Their father ignored the tension. Taeyeon sat like stone. The company still ran. The brothers still worked together. But something fundamental had broken. Min-jae told himself he didn't care. That Taeyeon had chosen a woman over family. That he was the wronged party. But alone, drunk at 2 a.m., he knew the truth. He destroyed everything. Lost Hilda. Lost his brother. Lost himself. And for what? Pride. Jealousy. The desperate need to win something. Anything. He ordered another drink. At the Kang family home, Mrs. Kang sat in the kitchen. Her hands shook slightly as she poured tea. She'd known. Of course she'd known. Known that Taeyeon loved Hilda. Known that Min-jae wanted her. Known that her sons were heading toward disaster. She'd stayed silent. Let them make their choices. Believed they'd find their way. Instead, her family was fracturing. And her health was failing. The stress. The tension. The weight of watching her sons destroy each other. She'd been to the doctor 3 times this month. The news wasn't good. But she couldn't tell them. Not now. Not when everything was already broken. She sipped her tea and prayed for a miracle. Over the next 3 weeks, Hilda and Taeyeon worked together constantly. Contract negotiations. Planning meetings. Strategy sessions. She was professional. Brilliant. Untouchable. He was careful. Respectful. Distant when she needed distance. But the attraction didn't fade. It sharpened. Every accidental touch. Every shared look. Every moment alone in conference rooms. They were adults now. Equals. No more games. No more codes. Just 2 people who'd loved each other badly and were learning to do it better. One evening, after a particularly long meeting, they found themselves alone in his office. Rain hammered the windows. The city lights blurred. Your firm is impressive, Taeyeon said. You didn't need this partnership. You could have gone elsewhere. I know. Then why come back? Hilda set down her pen. Met his eyes. Because running away didn't fix anything. It just postponed the reckoning. She stood. Walked to the window. I needed to come back as myself. Not as the girl who loved you. Not as Minji's friend. Just me. And now that you're here? Now I close the deal. Build my business. Prove I belong in this world. You always belonged. She turned. No, I didn't. I was the outsider. The foreign girl trying to fit in. But I'm not trying anymore. I'm just existing. Powerfully. On my own terms. Taeyeon stood. Moved closer. Stopped at a respectful distance. What if I want to exist on your terms too? Her breath caught. What does that mean? It means no more codes. No more silence. No more choosing anyone over you. His voice was steady. Sure. It means if you give me another chance, I won't waste it. And if I don't? Then I'll respect it. And I'll still be here. As a partner. A colleague. Whatever you need. Hilda studied his face. Looking for lies. For manipulation. For the same man who'd let 7 years pass. She found something different. Growth. Pain. Honesty. I'm not ready, she said finally. I know. I might never be ready. I'll risk it. The rain slowed. The city sparkled. Ask me again when the deal closes, she said. When there's no business between us. When I'm free to say yes or no without complication. And if you say no, then you let me go. Completely. No waiting. No hoping. You move on. Taeyoon nodded. Deal. They shook hands. Professional. But his thumb brushed her wrist. And her pulse jumped. Some things didn't change. They just evolved. The deal took 6 weeks to finalize. 6 weeks of meetings. Negotiations. Lawyers. Paperwork. 6 weeks of Hilda and Taeyoon in close proximity. Learning each other again. As equals this time. She noticed things she'd missed before. His dry humor. The way he listened completely when someone spoke. How he treated staff with quiet respect. He noticed things that hadn't changed. Her humming while she worked. The way she tucked her hair behind her right ear when thinking. That she still took her coffee with too much sugar. They were building something. Slowly. Carefully. Then Min-jae showed up. He walked into Hilda's temporary office without knocking. Looked terrible. Hollow. I need to talk to you, he said. Hilda didn't stand. Didn't smile. You have 5 minutes. I'm sorry. For everything. I was wrong. Obsessed. I hurt you and he stopped. Swallowed. I lost you. Isn't that punishment enough? You never had me to lose, Min-jae. That's what you still don't understand. I know. I know that now. He sat without permission. But I can make it right. I can help with the deal. Put in a good word. Make sure it goes through. I don't need your help. Yes, you do. There are board members who don't like outsiders. Who think you're too new. Too risky. I can sway them. Hilda leaned back. Studied him. And what do you want in return? Nothing. Just forgiveness. Eventually. No. His expression cracked. Please. I'm trying to fix. You're trying to manipulate me again. Make yourself essential. Create debt. She stood. I know your game. I learned it by surviving it. This isn't a game. Everything is a game to you. Her voice was cold. Even this apology. You want me to owe you. To need you. To give you another chance at control. That's not. Yes, it is. She walked to the door. Opened it. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave. You're going to stop interfering. And you're going to let me succeed or fail on my own merit. I can sabotage this, Min-jae said quietly. The deal. Your company. I still have influence. There it was. The threat. The real Min-jae. Hilda smiled. I know. I've been expecting it. She pulled out her phone. Showed him a document. This is a letter. Signed by 12 executives. Detailing your sabotage of my career. Your manipulation. Your threats. She met his eyes. If anything happens to this deal, it goes public. To the board. To your father. To the business community. Min-jae went pale. You wouldn't. Try me. Taeyoon wouldn't let you. Taeyoon doesn't control me. No one does. Not anymore. Min-jae stared at her. Really saw her for the first time. She wasn't the soft girl he'd befriended. Wasn't the woman he'd tried to cage. She was power. Pure power. He'd lost. Completely. I really did love you, he whispered. No. You loved the idea of me. The version you created. But you never loved the real me. She held the door wider. Goodbye, Min-jae. He left. Broken. Defeated. Hilda closed the door and breathed. The confrontation happened that night. Family dinner. Kong household. Tense and silent as always. Min-jae sat across from Taeyoon. Didn't eat. Didn't speak. Finally, their father asked about the deal. It's finalizing, Taeyoon said. Okafor International is a strong partner. I hear Min-jae has concerns, their father continued. Everyone looked at Min-jae. He could do it. Right now. Plant out. Sabotage Hilda one last time. Instead, he said, no concerns. She's brilliant. The deal is solid. Taeyeon's eyes widened. Slight. But there. After dinner, Mrs. Kang asked Hilda to stay. They sat in the garden. Cool evening. Jasmine scent. You're different, Mrs. Kang said softly. I had to be. My son, she stopped. Started again. Taeyoon has been hollow this year. Like he was just going through motions. Then you came back and she smiled. He woke up. I didn't come back for him. I know. That's why it matters. Mrs. Kang took her hand. I always knew. About his feelings. About the sacrifice he made. I was proud and heartbroken at the same time. You could have said something. Would you have believed me? Would he? She squeezed Hilda's hand. Some lessons we have to learn ourselves. In blood and tears. What do you want from me? Nothing. I just wanted you to know, you made my son human again. Whatever happens next, thank you for that. Tears burned Hilda's eyes. She blinked them away. The deal closed on a Friday. Signatures. Champagne. Congratulations. Hilda's company was now partner with Kang Global. Equal footing. No subsidiary status. No dependence. She'd done it. As everyone celebrated, Taeyoon caught her eye. Nodded toward his office. She followed. They stood in the quiet. City lights below. Years of history between them. You said to ask again when the deal closed, Taeyoon said. When there was no complication. I remember. Can I try again? Can I love you the way you deserve? Hilda looked at him. This man who'd broken her. Who'd grown. Who'd waited. I can't promise perfect, he continued. I can only promise real. Honest. No more codes. No more silence. Just me. Flawed and trying. I don't want perfect, Hilda said. I want choice. My choice. Always. Then choose. She stepped closer. Close enough to feel his heat. His heartbeat. I choose to try. Not to forgive everything. Not to forget. But to try. That's enough. That's more than enough. He kissed her. Different from before. Not desperate. Not hungry. Reverent. Like she was precious. Like he'd learned what it cost to lose her. They stumbled toward the couch. Years of longing. Years of pain. Finally released. This time, there was no urgency. Just tenderness. Just two people choosing each other with eyes wide open. He undressed her slowly. Kissed every scar. Every wound he caused. She pulled him close. Let herself be vulnerable. Let herself trust. Afterward, they lay tangled together. Breathing hard. It doesn't erase the past, Hilda said quietly. I know. I still hurt. Sometimes I'll remember and I'll hurt all over again. I know. Can you live with that? With me being broken in places. Taeyoon lifted her chin. Made her look at him. You're not broken. You're rebuilt. Stronger. Better. He kissed her forehead. And yes, I can live with loving someone who knows her worth. Even when it means she might choose to leave. I'm not leaving. But you could. And that's okay. She kissed him. Slow. Deep. We're building something new, she said. From ruins. It won't look like before. Good. Before was broken. This might break too. Then we'll rebuild again. They fell asleep like that. Wrapped in each other. Wrapped in possibility. Morning came soft. Gentle light. They didn't pretend the damage disappeared. Didn't pretend 7 years of pain could be erased by one night. But they chose each other anyway. Scars and all. 6 months later, the air in Seoul felt different to Hilda. It no longer felt like a weight she had to carry, but like a breeze she could finally breathe in. Her relationship with Taeyoon was public now. It wasn't always easy. The whispers in the boardroom didn't stop overnight, and the curious glances at a black woman holding the hand of the Kang heir remained. But for the first time in 7 years, Hilda didn't shrink. She didn't try to blend into the wallpaper. When people looked, she looked back with the steady gaze of a woman who knew she belonged exactly where she stood. At the Kang family home, the silence that once felt like a tomb had been replaced by something warmer. Mrs. Kang's health had taken a turn for the better, her laughter returning as she spent afternoons in the kitchen with Hilda. They didn't just share space anymore. They shared secrets. Mrs. Kang taught her the family recipes, her aged hands guiding Hilda's as they folded mandu. You brought the light back, Mrs. Kang whispered one afternoon. You gave them a reason to be honest. Min-jae was gone. He had moved to Jeju, distancing himself from the family business to find a version of himself that didn't rely on shadows and manipulation. A letter had arrived from him weeks ago. It was heavy with a genuine apology, taking full responsibility for the years of sabotage. He didn't ask for a second chance or even a reply. Hilda had read it twice, felt the final chord of her old life snap, and tucked it away. She didn't respond. Some bridges are better left burned, so you can use the light to find a new path. As the sun began to set over the city, Hilda stood in the Kong kitchen. She wasn't cooking to impress or to fit in. She was cooking because she enjoyed the rhythm of it. Taeyoon entered the room quietly, the sharp edges of his businessman persona melting away the moment he saw her. He walked up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist and resting his chin on her shoulder. He had softened over the months, though he hadn't lost his strength. He had simply learned that vulnerability wasn't a weakness, it was a bridge. The expansion in Lagos is officially approved, he murmured, his breath warm against her skin. And I've started the transition. I'm stepping back from the logistics side. No more dark rooms, Hilda. Just us. A real partnership, she said, turning in his arms to face him. A real life, he corrected, kissing her forehead. Hilda looked at him and realized that she was no longer the invisible girl waiting for a glance. She was a CEO. She was a partner. She was a woman who was seen. Later that evening, the family sat together for dinner. The table was full of food, some traditional Korean, some West African spices Hilda had introduced. The atmosphere was light, filled with the kind of honesty that only comes after a storm. Taeyoon reached under the table, finding Hilda's hand and lacing his fingers with hers. She looked around the room, then at the man beside her. She was finally seen, finally chosen, and most importantly, finally free. 7 years of silence had taught them the language of true love, the kind that waits, breaks, rebuilds, and stays. If you enjoyed this journey of healing and second chances, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. So, my lovely viewers, what do you think? Did Taeyoon wait too long to choose Hilda? Would you wait that long if you were Hilda? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.